Hello, and welcome to the Transformation Project, a podcast and community for women who are looking to transform into the best version of themselves, no matter where they're at. A place where you can listen, learn, and laugh along with us as we dive deep into different topics to help you live a happier, healthier, and more fulfilled life. Remember, we are all learning here together, and therefore the content and opinions of the hosts and our guests should not be taken as medical advice. Please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Transformation Project. We are super excited to have our Jess back. And if we're lucky enough, in the background, baby Asher, who has been born. And we're so stoked to hear all of that. So welcome back, Jess.
Thank you. It was a very quick 2 weeks away.
It was a very quick 2 weeks away. It's one of the fun and games about working online from home. You can just connect with everybody. You know, even for us here, we're in Brisbane, we're in lockdown. We still get to hang out and chat.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Yeah. No, it's crazy how quick everything goes. And exactly, yeah, you can still talk to everybody and share photos.
I was very privileged to come and visit a little bit and have a cuddle. But we hinted, Karen and I, when we had our chat last week, that baby Ash's arrival in the world was a little more eventful than you had planned in your birth plan. In a previous podcast, we did discuss about what happened when your birth plan didn't go to plan. I was so glad that we did. So I would love you to share a little bit more about what happened on the day baby Asher came into the world.
Yeah, well, so he was a day early and I was like dead set in my mind that he was going to be late. I just didn't feel like he was coming. Kinsley was late. My mom was late with all four of us. So the birth was just very different than Kinsley's, like the exact opposite. With Kinsley's, I was in early labor for 12 hours, went to the hospital. They were like, "Oh, honey, you're barely 3 centimeters. We should send you home." And I was like, no. So they let me stay. It was like 5 more hours. And then my water broke. And then it progressed quickly, but not crazy quickly. I think she was born like 2 hours after that. So Sunday night, my water broke at home, but it wasn't like the gush that I had with Kinsley and that you see in the movies. So it was like trickle. It was like, am I peeing right now? Or
my water never broke with either of my kids.
And they didn't break it for you?
They must have, but by that point I wouldn't have known.
Yeah. It just, I guess I knew that it's not always like the movies. It's not always like this big gush, but I was still like, and I didn't have contractions. So I was like, am I peeing? Am I leaking? Like, what is going on? So I got up because I was in bed. I was laying down. Yeah, I got up and Asher's already gonna want to talk to everybody here. So I got up and had to call Ben because my maternity pads and stuff were in the hospital bag packed because I didn't think I needed them before. So anyways, this is like 9:30 Sunday night. He comes in with them and he's like, "Okay, so let's go to the hospital." And I was like, "No, do you remember last time, babe? They almost sent us home. I haven't had a single contraction. There is no rush. You need to buckle in. We're going to be here all night." And he's like, "No, we got to go. We got to get ready to go." So I messaged my girlfriend who was going to take Kinsley, and thank goodness she's like, "I'll just come get Kinsley now." And I was like, no, this is going to be hours. We'll drop her off on the way to the hospital. And Ben was like, "You're being stupid. Like, just get rid of her now." Not get rid of her. You know what I mean? So that was a very good call on Ben's part and my girlfriend's part. So they came. She came and picked Kinsley up. So that was good. Kinsley was half asleep and didn't even understand. And at this point I had a handful of contractions and they were 10 minutes apart and they were super mild. So when Kinsley said to Ben, "I'm going to sleep," and he was like, "What do you mean? We got to get ready to go to the hospital." He was like packing the car. He was ready to go.
He just wanted to put the responsibility of you on someone else.
Yeah. And he had even made a joke. And he was like, "We're not having a home birth, Jessica." And I was like, "Of course we're not. We're not prepared for that at all. Like, we don't have a midwife. Like, of course we're not. Don't be ridiculous." So I went to sleep And then I think he made something to eat, and then he came to bed as well. And at 2 o'clock, I woke up and was like, ooh, yeah, these are starting to get a bit stronger. So I let him sleep still. So I had slept for like 2 hours. I let him sleep, and I kind of just like walked around the house and, was trying to not necessarily move them along, but like I didn't want to like stay still. And then at 6:30 in the morning, I woke him up, not because I was in more pain. I was just so bored and so tired. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't think I was going to sleep that long. And I was like, that's fine. You haven't missed anything. Nothing exciting has happened. At this point, they were 6 minutes apart, but not like crazy strong. I could breathe through them. I messaged my mom and my sister and was like, yeah, maybe around noon. I have lots of time still. And then, so Ben got up 6:30 in the morning, and I was like, I'm going to shower, because that was like a really good pain relief with Kinsley.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get into the shower. All of a sudden, like that much moving, like taking clothes off and stuff, made me a bit sick. So I did throw up a bit. And that should have been my first warning sign that like, things were progressing.
Something's up.
But I threw up with Kinsley early in the labor as well. So I was like, I don't know, it's just my body clearing everything out. Like, I remember this, like that's normal. And then I got in the shower and I turned on the water, and I was instantly in like a lot of pain. I couldn't hold myself up standing through a contraction. So I very quickly turned the water off and got out, and Ben was like, I thought you were showering. Okay. I got out, and he's like, well, I'm going to shower. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I sat down and I got my bra on. By the time he got out of the shower, that's all I had done. And I was like, I'm starting to feel pressure. I think we should think about going. So he was like, okay, yeah.
He's been ready since last night.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, there's literally one bag we still have to put in the cart. Like, yeah, I'm ready. And I was in our bathroom, and I was like, I'll just see if I need to poop. Like, maybe that's what the pressure is. So I sat down and had a contraction, and I was like, no, this is not poo. This is him. He's coming. So Ben comes back in, and I was like, I can't walk. He was just like, so and I was like, so call the ambulance. So he, you talk to the operator first, and they say, do you want the fire, police, ambulance? And he says ambulance. And then literally he had told the woman our address, and I'm saying that I let out a roar, because it wasn't a scream. It was like a roar the next contraction. I had to be vocal through this, because like he was here. He was coming. Like I could feel him kind of come out, and then he kind of goes back in at the end of the contraction. And I was like, oh yes, now it's happening right now. So I'm trying to tell this to Ben, and he's still talking to the ambulance lady, and she heard me, and she's like, oh, okay, yeah, she's in active labor, not just in labor. And then it was like very quick. It was literally 3 more pushes and he arrived. Ben was on the phone with the ambulance still, and the phone was in one hand, and he caught his head with the other, because I just said, I was like, he's here. And Ben looked down and was like, yeah, there he is. So put his hand there, and then one more push. And once his shoulders were out, the pain just, I don't know if it was the pain actually went away or the hormones took over, or I don't know, but I just reached down and picked him up. So I was standing the whole time. The lady on the phone kept screaming, get her to lie down, get her to lie down. And I was like, there's no way I can get to the floor right now. It was just so quick. Yeah. And then I held him in my arms and brought him up to my chest. And the lady on the phone kept screaming, get her on the ground. So I did finally lay on the ground. And then she kept yelling, keep him between your legs, parallel with your bum. And I was so confused. I was like, no, I'm going to hold him on my chest. That's where you put a newborn baby. I guess she was worried about the umbilical cord though.
That's probably why she wanted you to lay down the whole time.
Yeah. So finally I was like, the umbilical cord is fine. It's between his legs. And she was like, okay. So then it was like 10 minutes before the ambulance got there. Ben just got more towels, and
you guys hung out.
And we hung out until the ambulance arrived. And that was Asher's grand entrance. So it was Ben's, I don't want to say his worst nightmare, but like what he definitely did not want.
Yeah.
And then it happened.
But it is perhaps what all those years of baseball training were for.
Right. And that's
to catch
what
a baby with one hand.
And he caught him with his left hand, right? Like that's the catcher.
Impressive.
That's where the glove is. So he was prepared.
Super impressive.
Wow, that is so
He was
memorable.
not.
I mean, what an awesome story, though, as well. And for you, I know you spent so much, just your whole pregnancy and the things that you shared with us was you preparing, you know, your health and your fitness and just looking after yourself so well that, you know, this is really such a beautiful story. And obviously it's not necessarily the norm for a lot of women. And definitely, I guess the suggestion would be if they were ever in a similar situation, not to try and wait to see if they can do it themselves at home.
Yeah, no, like I wouldn't recommend it. You definitely need to have at least a midwife there. And I think if this was my first pregnancy, it would have been a lot different. And obviously babies come a bit faster, but I was told not to go to the hospital until I was having 3 contractions in a 10-minute span, and they were lasting a minute each. And that had been going on for about an hour. I wasn't even close. I very quickly went from 6 minutes apart to like 30 seconds apart.
Ta-da.
They never the contractions never once lasted a full minute, even when I was pushing. So it just so different the second time around. And obviously with everything happening with COVID and stuff, the hospital that I was going to didn't have everything in place that they had with my first pregnancy. So you couldn't call and speak to a midwife. They said, sorry, funds have been cut. There's no one going to answer that phone. So that was different. So I was like, no, I don't want to go too early because they're literally just going to turn around and send us home. And the car ride is painful enough. But what you just said made me really think about, I guess, that my body was physically prepared, but I was mentally prepared as well, which I think was a big thing. I was not afraid of a home birth. I had suggested it to Ben at the beginning when we got pregnant, and he was like, absolutely not. You're crazy. Let's never speak about this again, basically. So yeah, I was like, okay, fine. That's great. We'll go to the hospital. I had a water birth with Kinsley. That's what I wanted with this one as well. But I guess I was mentally prepared for it to go any direction, really, and felt really comfortable. And Ben was very calm and stuff too. He could have definitely gone a totally different route, but we were both very calm. But I felt, this is going to sound almost silly, I think, but I felt empowered standing there, like pushing through the contractions, telling the lady on the phone what's happening. No, he's crowning. No, he's coming. One more push. Just really felt in control as much as your body does take over. Yeah, just still very in control. And I knew my body was going to do what it needed to.
I think that's the key thing for me, Jess, what I'm hearing when you're speaking is that you've spent this period of time getting so in touch with your body. And because you'd done it before, you actually just knew what was happening and you trusted what was happening. And consequently, you know, you've got this beautiful, beautiful little boy right now and everything went so well. But I know this very awesome story as well around it. So congratulations. I actually haven't had a chance to talk to you.
No, I know.
Yeah, I can't wait for cuddles.
Yeah, soon. He wants some cuddles. Yeah.
Yeah, for everybody who's listening to us and not watching on YouTube, baby Asher is in the video with us. So that makes it even worse, right, Karen? Because you can see his little fuzzy head. He's
supposed to be sleeping. He's not cooperating. But
do they ever? Not really.
No, and I guess his birth proved that. He was never going to cooperate, never go to plan. But
yeah, you have to wonder what this is going to mean.
Yeah, seriously. He's always going to be early.
He's doing life on his terms.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But I was speaking to a girlfriend after she had come to visit, and she was like, you know, I told her the story, obviously, and she's like, wow, that's so crazy. We're so lucky everything went smoothly. And obviously, yes, I am. The cord was not wrapped around his neck. He wasn't breached. He was in the right position. But like you said, Karen, I did spend a lot of time making sure those things happened. I did see a chiropractor numerous times to make sure my hips were aligned. I did do certain exercises and stretches and stuff to make sure he was head down and he was facing the right direction. She was saying, she has a lot of friends that have had kids, and she was like, oh my gosh, everyone has had a bad experience. They've either had like an emergency C-section or, you know, they've been pushing for 4 hours or all these things. And she's like, honestly, you're the only one that I know that's had a positive story. And I felt really sad when she said that, because I was like, this should not be the case. But I feel like it is like, if you do certain things in your pregnancy and you don't have like a fear necessarily around birth, because if you're afraid going in, I just feel like you're more likely to have stuff happen. You're going to be tight. You're not going to relax through the contraction. So baby's not going to drop. You're going to, I don't know, be too afraid to move and just sit on the bed, and the baby's not going to progress, things like that. Like, I think for the most part, the norm is a really safe and good delivery, as good as it can be. Yeah, I don't know. It made me very grateful, but very sad when she was like, oh, I don't know many good birth stories. I was like, ugh, what's going to happen when you go through this? You're not going to be comfortable. And yeah, I don't know.
Your expectation then is that it's going to be terrible before you're even there.
Yeah.
I understand that. And you're right. It is really sad. There is definitely, I think, some merit in kind of educating yourself and making sure that your voice is heard throughout that pregnancy process, so that you are in control. Because ultimately, for a lot of people, I was really one of them, where the control was taken out of my hands and I just went along with what I was told to do. And the difference for you is that the whole time that this was going on, it could have been, and even now, even though everything's fine and you have the baby there and he's beautiful and it's fine, you could flip that and go like, I had a terrible birth story. I had my baby in the bathroom. It was, whatever. Like but your mindset also is something that you have been working on, as well as everything else that you can help to prepare, and looking for the positives in everything too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very lucky with my first birth. I had a really great midwife, and she did just say, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And I know that's not the case for everyone. And I think because I did have such a good first birth, I felt very empowered. And even like seeing my doctor, and she was like, oh, you should do this. I was like, no, that's not, I just, I felt comfortable being like, no, that's not, I don't want to do it like that. No, I'm not going to do that kind of thing. So it just, yeah, like I said, I was very lucky with that first one to have such a really great midwife who was just, this is your body. What feels good? How do you want to birth him? So I just walked into this being like, no, we're going to do it how I want to. And I don't know if it's like being here in Australia, like we go through midwives, at least the hospital that I'm at, and they're very big on natural births. Like, they really don't push the epidural and C-sections and stuff like that. Whereas back home in Canada, that's not the norm. You're in a hospital, a doctor delivers the baby, and most people do get the epidural and a C-section. And then epidural, as much as it can be awesome, it also increases your chances of needing forceps and things like that. So to get the baby out. So just, really happy that I did have such a great experience the first time around. It just made this one so much more, I don't want to say easy, but like comfortable. Let's say that. Not physically comfortable. Mentally. Yeah.
Are there some, I guess, some memories that have come back, or it's now that you've had Asher and he's a few weeks old, is there some key things you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, or I forgot about that? That's what this is all about.
Yeah. The breastfeeding thing. I had a bit of an issue with Kinsley just latching properly, me not being comfortable. So this time I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it right this time. I'm going to know how to latch. I've watched all the videos and stuff again, but I guess I kind of forgot, like, I know how to breastfeed, but he doesn't. So it was like, I didn't need to be trained how to latch, but I still had to train him how to latch. And yeah, there is a little bit of pain, but it should be more discomfort than pain. So that was like a really big one.
That's something that you said to me, because you said with Kinsley, you just allowed her to breastfeed whilst you were uncomfortable because you weren't sure. Whereas this time you kind of made sure that you took him off and then relatched him again to make
Yeah.
sure that it was, from the beginning.
Yeah. As much as that sometimes makes like a little bit of a fussy baby being like, no, mom, don't take me off. But like, it's just been better. And now he's 2.5 weeks and I barely have to latch him. As soon as he kind of finds the nipple, he just like knows how to do it. Whereas like, it was probably 6 weeks of painful breastfeeding with Kinsley before her and I both finally worked it out. The afterbirth pains. So after you have the baby, every time you breastfeed, your uterus starts to contract. I had a little bit of pain with Kinsley, but nothing, like everything was pretty manageable. This was not so manageable this time around. And they say that's normal. The pains are a lot stronger the subsequent times. And that was definitely the case. I was like, I'm in labor again. This is so painful. And I really didn't want to take any medicine. I did take a fair amount of like Panadol and ibuprofen after the birth with Kinsley. And I really didn't want to, I did at the hospital. So I just did in the first couple hours. I didn't, when we got home, I really didn't want to this time, which kind of made the pain worse. So that was like a big, and it's not like something that anyone really talks about. So it was like, oh my God, I'm in labor again right now. Like my insides are screaming at me.
I forgot about that too. And now I remember. It's funny, isn't it? You even talk about it and it's like, whoop, yep, I remember that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, that was not nice. The thing I was most afraid of postpartum was pooping.
Yes. Now I've noticed you shared a little bit about that on your social media. And I want to say, like, high five to you for that, because I don't know how many pregnant mums, I mean, new mums would be comfortable sharing about that, but you have been so vulnerable and open to your followers, because you have built up a fair amount of sort of new mums and pregnant mums on your followings, on your socials. And I want to really just give you props for just being completely open about everything that's going on.
With Kinsley, it was like the worst. I was so scared to poop. I can't even explain it. So I didn't poop after having Kinsley for 7 days. And that was like during labor. And same with this time, I vomited a lot and I had a lot of diarrhea, and it's just your body clearing everything out. So they say it's pretty normal not to poop for maybe like a couple days after, but they do really want you to be pooping by day 3 because you should be eating. And with Kinsley, I just remember I was eating, but maybe I wasn't eating the right stuff. I don't really remember. I feel like postpartum with her was a big brain fog. I didn't write anything down. I didn't record anything. I couldn't even remember. The midwife would come and be like, how many wet diapers, wet nappies? And I would be like, I don't know, a lot. I have no idea. Yeah. And I just remember getting to kind of like 6 postpartum with Kinsley and being like, I haven't pooped. And I feel like a bit backed up. And I've always been very regular. And that first poo was scary. I gave Kinsley to Ben and I said, go upstairs. I need some time to myself right now. I didn't even tell him it was to poo. I just told him I just needed time to myself. I was so scared, and I had stitches. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to tear again. It was once after it happened, like then it was fine. It was a huge relief. My insides felt normal. But so I was just really, really aware, I guess, this time that I was not going 7 days without pooing. I was determined to not go 7 days without pooing. So I had done a lot of research, things that were going to help move things along and what you should and shouldn't do postpartum. And yeah, I guess that's why I shared it, because it was just so scary. It sounds weird, like I just delivered a baby, but the pooing part after was scary. I've never been constipated before. I've never had that experience. So yeah, this time I just really just did a lot of research, and I just felt like it was something I should share with people because no one speaks about it. I shouldn't say that. People are speaking about it now, starting to, maybe because that's what I search all the time. So that's what now pops up. But
suddenly your Facebook is filled with pooping stuff. Your Facebook's looking like Karen's Facebook now.
Pooping is central to life.
Poop central.
And it should be spoken about more. And it just like,
Yep.
I didn't realize. Yeah, they check the baby. Has the baby pooed and peed? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, chick, you can go home from the hospital. And then it was like, wait,
What
have
about
I
me?
pooed or peed? No. So yeah, it just, I don't know. I know a lot of people are really uncomfortable talking about poop. And I think maybe just because I had done so much research and spoken to a lot of people and they were like, oh, I didn't know about the poo thing. And I was like, this needs to be shared as much as, yeah, it's a bit
Yeah, I think
awkward.
between all of us, we forget that people don't speak about poo as much as we speak about
No.
poo.
Yeah.
For a good reason, people.
We need to talk about it more.
Yes, for a good reason. We talk about poo. You need to talk about poop in your family. Talk about the poops.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
I don't remember if there was anything else that I wasn't prepared for. The lack of sleep and like broken sleep. I knew that was coming.
I feel like the last days of pregnancy kind of prepare you for that, because I can remember I felt like Savannah hiccuped every time I lay down to sleep. She started hiccuping. And yeah, so by the time she arrived, I was kind of used to not sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so anything with having a boy now instead of a girl, or anything that you've noticed with babies specifically that you forgot that they did?
I mean, the poop is always an interest, going back to poop. Poop is always an interesting thing. Like it comes out black, like tar for the first couple days, which, yeah, like a lot of people, well, at least my midwives did warn me about it with Kinsley, but it was still like when that first came out, you were like, this came out of a person. Like, this is bad. This is disgusting. And then it starts to change and become more like yellow mustardy and doesn't get solid until they start eating solid food. So that's always like a bit of a, ooh, yeah, that's a reminder. Anything about being a boy? Nothing particular. Just obviously like cleaning their bum is very different. Ben thinks it's easier to clean Kinsley's bum, or was easier to clean Kinsley's bum than a boy's. There's just more parts for a boy. I have been peed on numerous times, so that's definitely something with a boy.
Yeah, I heard
different.
you have to do the like lift the nappy, quickly put it down, like a fake. You have to fake them out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the change in the temperature, I guess, is what they say, kind of can like trigger a little pee. So if you open it, let it get a bit cold for a second and then put it back down. And that has worked for us for the most part, except Kinsley is very interested in helping with the baby. So she wants to help change his bum and things like that. And she's not quick and she doesn't understand quick, Kinsley, like pass me the wipe quickly. And then we'll take the diaper out and we'll put the other one back on, and she's taken her time. And so we've got peed on a couple times.
Has Kinsley gotten pee on?
Her blanket got peed on this morning. That was a bit of a disaster.
Right. But that might make her quicker next time.
Maybe, hopefully. Yeah. She hasn't helped.
Toddlers learn to experience.
Yeah.
You know what I've observed, Jess, and just Anna, we kind of briefly discussed it with the things that you're sharing on Instagram, is how quickly your perception of the older child changes for them to seem big all of a sudden, because they're your baby, and then a baby comes in and they're suddenly big.
It's been crazy. So I didn't see Kinsley for almost 2 days. And that first time she came back, I was like her face looked older. And I was like, I don't know how to explain it. Like she didn't come home as a 2.5-year-old. I swear she came home as a 4 or 5-year-old. And every day, Ben and I say the same thing. We're just like, she's so different. She's always been so good with dolls. And, like, we have a friend that has a 6-month-old and she's really good with him. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just been so crazy. She physically looks bigger all of a sudden, which is just so weird because she hasn't gone through a growth spurt, I don't think. Her clothes still fit. but she physically looks bigger, but she also like definitely is emotionally older. We can say things to her and she just seems to understand. We've definitely had more temper tantrums in the last 2 weeks and more expressing ourselves through like screaming, which has been just delightful. I don't know if it's a second baby thing or a boy
to share
thing.
mommy now.
Yeah, and just everything. Obviously, like, people have come over and given gifts and stuff, and you guys were very smart, Yvette, and you brought her a gift as well. But We've had some gifts delivered for Asher, and she's like, mine. No, this is for baby Asher. No, mine. And you're like, okay, no, no. So yeah, we've had lots of talking. Yeah, she's been going through this bit of a screaming thing where she doesn't get her way. She just stands there and like screams as loud as she can. And she's done that once before. I think we spoke about it on the podcast when I didn't give her the strawberries at the grocery store. Yeah.
I think for us, when our group came and got you your gift, a lot of us are mums that have more than one child. And so I can remember when Savannah was born, Kiara would have been, I think, 10 when Savannah was born. And she said, "Oh, I'm just the old dog now. Nobody cares about the old dog. They all want to play with the puppy." And I was like, oh my God, you poor thing. And so I remember the old dog. And so, Kinsley, you're not the old dog, darling.
No,
we love you.
Yeah.
But
no,
yeah,
she has.
Kiara's not the old dog either. We love you too, Kiara.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of older kids definitely feel that way because there's so much excitement about this new edition, and they're excited too. But at the same time, you know, all the aunties and uncles and grannies and whoever else used to walk into the house and they would get first attention, and now suddenly they're just getting walked by completely, and there's this new, you know, excitement around a new edition that's not them.
Even some of the mums that I've been speaking to, they say it's all about you during the pregnancy. How are you feeling? How's this? And all of a sudden baby comes and it's like, how's baby? And it's like, what about me still? How am I healing? How am I doing emotionally? How am I doing with the pain of breastfeeding and everything else? How's mom still? Because you birth a human, but you birth a whole new woman at the same time. When you just, don't even know. But I can only imagine what the kids go through. So we've been trying.
And the husbands.
Yes, and the
husbands.
Because
it changes everything, right? The whole dynamic of relationships as well. That's another baby taking your time, and now he's, you know, or they're expected to step up and do more, and, you know, just everything shifts and adjusts in sometimes the slightest way that when you look back, you're like, whoa, that was actually really big. Really big, yeah. Now that you say that, actually, it kind of makes me reflect on how much time Ben and Kinsley have been spending together, especially now that we're on lockdown. Ben's not working, and Kinsley's been home with us. And in 2 days, Kinsley's learned how to ride a scooter and like do so many things. And I've just like, because she's just hanging out with Ben all day. And Ben's like, I'm not going to sit in front of a TV all day. So let's go find something to do in the garage. So watching their relationship has been really awesome. We've had the scooter for 6 months and she's never touched it. And all of a sudden she's just learned how to ride it in 2 days. So yeah, they do really change very quickly.
Well, we are very excited to have you back. We're very excited to have baby Asher in the world, a new little person in our community. And he is super, super cute. And thank you for sharing your story with us today. I'm sure in future podcasts, we're still going to have baby Asher for a while.
Yes, probably.
But I guess, you know, this is a podcast for women, about women, and part of that is families. And so we're just going to roll with that because we can. It's our podcast. We make the rules. So thank you so much for listening today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your time with us today. Please feel free to head over to our podcast, subscribe, give us a review and an honest rating. We're not going to ask for a 5-star review and a fantastic rating. Be honest. We love that. We want your feedback. And please make sure that you let us know if there's anything particular you'd like us to cover or a particular topic that you want us to discuss. We're super open to all your suggestions. Hope you guys have an incredible rest of your day.